Hello everybody, welcome back to Bison Workshop. I'm Bob, and today I need to give you guys some updates on the shop. As you can see, the go-kart's not here no more. He was going this weekend to give it to his family, and he needed it this weekend, so I had to rush to get it back together, so I really didn't get a number 5 video on it. All I can do is show you the pictures of it on the back of his truck, and the only thing I had left to do was put the motor on it, put the new carburetor on it, get it running, and I've showed that in other videos. And the seat, it just took some finagling to make the adjuster work for the driver's seat. But I took some pictures of that to show you how I done that. So right here they are. So then I've been working on this bad boy. I've got the shelf in it. I went ahead and put these mounts on the back of it. I hope you guys are having your Trump coffee. I'm going to set mine down. This started out with just the sink. I was kicking the idea around about building me one, and my buddy Dale had this laying around for years, and it's a heavy one. I'm telling you, that thing's more than a quarter-inch thick, and it's cast steel, and I'm telling you, it is heavy. Between this and the stand, it is heavy. As you can see, I drilled holes there. That's where I was originally going to put my switches, but I decided that the door swings into it, and I didn't want it hitting these switches and breaking them. So I just took the switches out of the front and put them in the back. Right here. So, and it says pump and lights. And this is what I'm powering the unit with. I'm powering these two LED 12-volt lights. And yes, we got the Bison logo on it. And this came off of a fishing sink that you would take, like one in plastic. It was about this size, maybe a little longer, and it had a area about 3 inches deep, maybe 2.5 inches deep, to work on stuff, and then it had a flat surface, so it was a fillet table, and that's what this came off of. So it swivels, but you gotta be careful or you'll unscrew it there. I just basically welded these to the frame just so I'd have a mounting place for everything. Then on the bottom here, I went and got one of them tanks like I used in my air compressor, air rifle air compressor build, and I converted it so you've got the outlet for the tub that comes into the tank, and this tube only goes down about that far. It's just putting it back in there so this will continuously keep it same level. So then I put a car fuel pump. I think it's a 5-pound pressure, and it works fine. And eventually I'll redo the hoses so that they're elbowed and looking nice and contained to that area, so I can still use this side for shelf area. And I tell you, I had a devil of a time building this thing, and that's about a contraption, I can tell you. Basically, when I first started with this, let me see if I can find that piece. It should be right here in this strap, I think. Yeah, right here it is. I don't understand what this sink had on it, but if you look in the top here, just bear with me, guys. This here had 4 bolt holes, and these are tapered holes. So in order to use some kind of a drain system, I had to cut this piece off of the bottom of it. Well, that left me with a flat flange all the way around. And I did a pretty good job when I cut that off of there. It was pretty straight. And then I just took the grinder and the files and leveled it out. So then I made this plate to go on there out of a plate I had laying here. And I just used 5/16 bolts and nuts. And I used that camper top membrane as a sealant, as a gasket. As you can see, it's bunched up there from the pressure on it. And it's squeezed up between this part, and there's silicone gasket maker, black RTV gasket maker in between it. Then, my challenge was getting these to seal. And that was becoming a problem where I thought I was going to have to trash this sink and go buy a stainless steel sink to put in here, and I didn't want to do that because they're like 80 bucks. And that's for the cheapest one, not even the one I want. But so I went today and used RTV gasket maker and sealed, put a bead of silicone down in here in each one of these, put the bolts down in it, so they should be sealed around the heads too. And then I just took and smeared around the edges here. Of course, I didn't need to because it's got that membrane on it anyway. But it had a bead there, so I just kind of smoothed it out and made it look nice. Then I made this piece, and I just put a 3/8 bolt in it and nut, because the nut is smaller and got flat sides on it, so it will still allow the fluid to go through these holes and through there. There's always going to be a level here. It's always going to have fluid right here, and I wish I didn't have to do that, but this was the only fitting that I could find that I can make work. Eventually I will probably redo this once I find a better combination of things to work, so I can get this down flatter. I may have to make something on the lathe, so it's inevitable. It's going to happen. So I just put that on there, so when it drains, it still gets past the nut and holds it in place so it ain't sliding all over the place. If I had this down level, flat, I had made this piece right here that I was going to use, and I was going to drill the holes in it just like that. But because that's so high, I couldn't do that. But eventually I want to get this down level as I can get, because I don't want any fluid laying around these heads. So this here is probably level with this edge right here. So these bolts are always going to be underneath diesel fuel, which is what I have decided to use to start off with. If I find I don't like it, I can empty it out and put something different in it. But it was between that or kerosene, and kerosene is a rocket fuel, so I don't want to be using kerosene in my shop. The diesel fuel and the gas I already have in here is already flammable enough for me to rest comfortably in my bed at night. So the shelf is made so that it'll lift right out of there, so if I needed to move this, I can at least take some weight off of it, because that stand ain't light either. That's all 1/4 inch steel except for the bed frame. So the pump works. I'm not going to try it. Well, I'll do it just long enough for you guys to hear it. There it is. That's all you need to hear. And then we got the lights. I thought about doing them separate, but I'm going to need all the light I can get in here anyway. So I think that'll work. I can adjust that wherever I want. I can adjust one for, well, I can adjust them both. in the center, because you can see where it's in the center, where they meet each other. See, that's off to the side. That's off to the side. Even that would work. Of course, you'd have a dark spot in the middle. So let's split the difference. There we go. So now we got almost a whole thing lit up. So it's a shame that this thing's got a crack in it. It's got a crack in it that starts from here and goes down to here. So I can tell that it stops right there, because right here is where it stops. Oh, you can't see it right now, but take my word for it. But I'm just using that right there to power it. This is the outlet that will be powering it, because I'm going to set it right there. And you know, that would also give me light over here at the vise too, because then I could turn that up, turn these lights up facing that way and give me more light. I don't know, we'll see. So, but this is the parts washer that I'm working with, that I'm building. And this thing here, I just put a plug in it to plug it. And this one here is your incoming power. This one goes to this light. This one goes to that light. This one goes to the pump. So I can adjust the power on it. Let's say I wanted to put 24 volt stuff on it. I could do that. Not that I ever will, but I could. So that is the update on the shop. Let me go get my coffee so I can talk. We, the deplorables, have spoken. Oh, Lord. But anyway, my idea is to use diesel fuel, off-road diesel fuel, in this, and see how it works. I guess we'll find out. So, anyway, sorry I couldn't finish the go-kart build for you guys, but he was in a big hurry, and I actually needed to get it out of my shop too, so it kind of worked out for the best, because my son's four-wheeler was out in the elements. I did not like that. I like it to be in the dry. So this one gets stored in here. Yeah, it could be stored somewhere else, but ain't got no place else to store it. And I tried a little shed tent. That thing, wind blows, blows it all over the place. But I need one more shed roof for this thing to set under, but I just don't like it being out in the weather. Things start rusting on it because you're not in a controlled environment. And we got to put a solenoid on it, so that will be the next thing that we got to do. So that might even be the next video. How to replace the solenoid on a Big Bear 400. I did replace the, well, let me show you. I did replace the handbrake for the rear. This is the rear brakes. This is the front brakes. And I had them both identical to this. I like the chrome on them. It makes it look nicer. But, I mean, I like the black too. They're both equally nice, but I'd like for them to match, but that ain't going to happen. I need a way for this thing to have a parking brake. And if it doesn't have a parking brake, I'm hating life. Mine has a parking brake on it because I took mine off of a Polaris. And that's what this is off of, a Polaris. And it works just fine. The switch works. And when you go to push this in, you can pull that to the side and it will lock it. like that. Let me see if I can get it a little further. Yeah, see, now that will lock, and then when you pull it, it releases. You gotta have a parking brake. Because when you're sitting somewhere, let's say for instance up at the mailbox, when I'm going to the mailbox to take you guys your parts, when I'm sitting there, it's on a downhill climb, and I need it to hold still while I'm fumbling with everything. That's the only downfall of having front brakes and rear brakes on the handlebars. Because, you know, the foot pedal would have worked nice in those situations. But because I don't have a foot pedal, I eliminated that one. I hated that foot pedal from the get-go. So there was enough room over there, there was nothing there, so why not put a left-handed one on there? And when I go to use it, or to put my mail in and fumble with the key, because now I have to have a frickin' key on the mailbox because people can't leave shit alone. Just another hindrance in life. But anyway, that helps to hold it in place when I'm trying to fumble with stuff. Anyway, this update got a little bit too long. Anyway, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. You guys have a good one. Later.